And now, live from Level 5 Productions on the island of Milleronia, it's The Larry Miller Show. Good evening, Mr. and Mrs. America, and everyone who gets dressed up to go to the doctor. Hi, folks, and welcome back to the Larry Miller Show. I'm Larry Miller, but in a way, aren't we all? And it is gorgeous today. I'm back on the mainland with Colonel Jeff, and I had a reason for coming back, and I'll tell you in a little bit about that. But it's beautiful here. It's lovely. And as you know, that means a lot to me. On Milleronia, of course, I control the weather, and I make it the way I want. But here, I have no say over the weather, and it was just naturally gorgeous today. And I'm always happy when that music makes me feel great. Of course, that's the Robert Loggia Orchestra and the Monique Van Voren Dancers, featuring boy tenor Brad Simpson asking the musical question, on a movie set, is the best boy ever a girl? And if so, does she sometimes need to get a grip? Good one, Brad. Good question. Now, you know this, and everyone out there knows this, and I know this. Best boy is a credit on the cast and crew, on the lists. And to be honest, as many movies as I've been in and on as many sets, I didn't know till just now what a best boy was. I finally said to Colonel Jeff, you know what, I'm going to look that up. All these movies and that's, which I love, and yeah, I didn't know what a best boy was. And I did look it up, and a best boy essentially means he's the foreman of his department. So the electrical department has a best boy. In effect, he's second in command. And the grips have a best boy, too. That's those folks who really well set everything up, lights and pipes and frames and everything. And I've never seen the title, Best Girl, but why not? I mean, I'm sure the has-been should be. And by the way, something I didn't even know, it's something of a family job. That is, best boys are something that gets handed down from father to son. So you know what? There could be a best girl. And I've always said this is true for years and years, everything I've ever been on. When I get to, if it's on a location, anywhere around the country, and when I get there, I can always tell how happy the set is, how good the movie is going to be by looking at the grips. If I'm walking, I get driven to the set, and after dropping your bags off at the hotel, so you get driven to the set to meet, well, the hair and makeup people and wardrobe people. Of course, say hello to the director. And I always felt that as soon as I get out of that car, and just look around and see guys walking with a bunch of pipes on their shoulder, or see fellas walking with a lot of electrical equipment. And you know what? You can tell a lot from that. You can tell whether they've been browbeaten and really just walloped into obeying somebody, or whether the director on down is just very solid pros, and they're there to make a good picture. So in any case, good question, Brad. If Brad says, on a movie set, is the best boy ever a girl? And if so, does she sometimes need to get a grip? And that's funny and it's witty, because a grip is, of course, another big job on the set. Key grip and all the other fellas and the other folks. And there are many, many who are women now. And why not? So, you know what, though? Good one, Brad. Thanks. I mentioned Robert Loggia, and I've worked with him before, and he came into my mind, and you'll find out a little later. But you know what? He was always a great actor, and he's he's gone now. He passed away in December of 2015. But yes, he's in the movie I'm going to be talking about today. And boy, oh boy, was that guy good. And I was in, and one of the things was a movie called Necessary Roughness that I was in with him. Oh boy, Scott and Hector Elizondo and Robert Loggia playing coaches, and I was, as usual, the romantic lead. And true, it wasn't written that way, but I always put that in. And but I had a great time on that set, and I learned a lot. And I used to watch Robert Loggia's scenes. I used to go down there just to watch him because he was so good, and he found so much in it that I really learned a lesson just watching him. And Monique Van Voren was Belgian and became American, and she just passed away a couple of weeks ago on January 25th. And she was in many TV and movies, and was on Batman, in fact, in the 60s. And I always loved that name. I mean, come on, Monique Van Voren. It's perfect. She was 92 when she just died, but you can't have a better name like that in 1950s Hollywood, can you? Now, there's sure people with different kinds of actors and actresses and studio executives with this and that, but you know what? I think they found a good name for her there. And speaking of good names, her second movie was called Tarzan and the She-Devil, in which she played, anyone want to guess? The She-Devil. That's right. But you know what? I like both of them very much. And by PayPal. That's right, PayPal. Still one of the greatest companies there. When you work with PayPal, you know what? You feel like you've just saved the world, and who knows, maybe you have. So if you like the show here, if you like me and you like the show, and why wouldn't you? And you want to send some money to help us out, and why wouldn't you? That's the way to do it with PayPal. And they always have, I love these guys because they always have things that I'm not looking for things called, join the Platinum Club, or you'll be on the committee that raises more money for this or that. You know what? I always say, just buy us a drink. That's maybe the best idea of all, because there are many different levels. There's level 1 through 5 and all the way up to... We're driving to Florida! Boy, I love that. We're driving to Florida. And I think that guy screamed, yes! He was a best boy on a set. But you know what? Go to PayPal. You can go there any way you want. Sure, your computer, your iPhone, anything will take you there. But so will we. Use us. What you do is, go to our website, LarryMillerPodcast.com. Who's on the Mountain? Tom Mix. Wow, pardon me. I should have had the pasta. You know what? Boy, that sounds like a movie made at Buckingham Palace, doesn't it? And by the way, that place is so fancy. That's just your alarm clock. That's how you get up in the morning every day. Well, anyway, though, so go to our website, and we have a banner that says PayPal on it. Click our banner. We'll take care of the whole thing. Click our banner, and then just go lay yourself down in your easy boy chair and tilt back, put a magazine over your face, and catch a quick one. And thank you, PayPal. Well, we like you as much as you like us. And that brings me to my favorite part of the show, the joke of the week. I do love passing on jokes to you, and this is a good one. Colonel Jeff and I both got a kick out of this. A father and his 8-year-old son go into the local pharmacy, and Dad has to pick up a couple things, and as they're walking by, his son sees a display case for condoms. And he just looks at them and he says, hey, Dad, and he picks one up and it has 3 condoms in it. He said, Dad, what are these? And the father says, that's for boys. And, well, why are there 3 of them? Because a boy can use, that's one for Friday, one for Saturday, one for Sunday. Oh, okay. And the father picks out a couple of more things he needs, and the little boy looks at another part of the display and picks one up that has, 6 in it. And says, Dad, what are these for? And the father says, oh, those are for college men. That's 2 for Friday, 2 for Saturday, and 2 for Sunday. And his little son sees another box with 12 in them, and he picks it up and says, whoa, Dad, who's this for? And the father says, those are for married men. That's 1 for January, 1 for February. We got a kick out of that, and I hope you did too. It's a little racy maybe, but I think you could tell that to anyone, anytime. And that brings me to my second favorite part of the show, the Poetry Corner. There's still nothing like a great poem to me, like a great joke or a great piece of music. And this one is by Robert William Service. I have read his work before, and it's called Courage. Today I opened wide my eyes and stared with wonder and surprise to see beneath November skies an apple blossom peer. Upon a branch as bleak as night, it gleamed exultant on my sight, a fairy beacon burning bright of hope and cheer. Alas, said I, poor foolish thing, have you mistaken this for spring? Behold, the thrush has taken wing, and winter's near. Serene it seemed to lift its head. The winter's wrath I do not dread, because I am, it proudly said, a pioneer. Some apple blossom must be first, with beauty's urgency to burst into a world for joy athirst. And so I dare, and I shall see what none shall see. December skies gloom over me, and mock them with my April glee, and fearless fair. And I shall hear what none shall hear, the hardy robin piping clear, the storm king gallop dark and drear across the sky, and I shall know what none shall know, the silent kisses of the snow, the Christmas candles' silver glow, before I die. Then from your frost-gemmed window pane, one morning you will look in vain, my smile of delicate disdain no more to see. But though I passed before my time, But though I pass before my time and perish in the grail and grime, maybe you'll have a little rhyme to spare for me. Isn't that lovely? Courage. It's a great word anyway, and Robert William Service found a good way to think about it and describe it. And that brings me to my third favorite part of the show. Triple M, the magic movie moment. And this is a terrific movie that I just happened to see a few nights ago, and I'm glad I did. It's from 1982, An Officer and a Gentleman, directed by Taylor Hackford, starring Richard Gere, Deborah Winger, David Keith, Robert Loggia, David Caruso, Louis Gossett Jr., Grace Zabriskie, and it's a terrific cast. And what a good story. And you know what? It's a love story, but it's a story of personal courage, and success, and striving, and struggle. And it's It's wonderful. It's wonderfully told by Taylor Hackford. And you know what? For the magic movie moment for me, you can't beat the final scene of Zach Mayo. That's Richard Gere, and he's just graduated from, well, his pilot school. And they're all in their dress whites, which is a really great uniform to have on. And he's dressed, and they just graduated, and he goes right from there, still wearing his dress whites, goes to the box factory where Deborah Winger works, and her name is Paula Pofricki in this movie, and he surprises her at her job in the box factory, and they just had a fight, or they just split up, or they just did something and we don't know, and their love has been hurt. And he strides right over to her in the middle of the day, and she's on duty, she's on her shift, and he swoops her up in his arms, takes her out past her mother and best friend, and who also work there, and carries her off to their life together. And that great music is playing, "Don't Take It Up Where We Belong, Where You Belong." And it's just the audio of that, I think. And folks, you know what? That's another one of those, yes, magic movie moment of, how do you beat that? I can't. And you know what? They both struggled, they both met, they both cared, and then ultimately they both loved. But Zach came through. He became, well, an officer and a gentleman. And I hope we all do that. I don't know. I'm just thrilled that it happens that way in a story sometimes. You know what, though? He looked great, and it made me think of just, that's what I said in the beginning. Hey, do you dress up for the doctor? And because I did today. That's why I'm on the mainland, and I had an appointment with my eye doctor this morning and got dressed up for it. I mean, I showered, shaved, put on, well, all clean clothes and nice clothes, fancy clothes for me. I would think for you, too. I mean, it's not sweatpants and sneakers. You get dressed up and you want to put, well, everything is clean, as I said, and, khaki pants, Argyle socks, topsiders, and, and everything, as I said, clean. I keep throwing in clean like that's astonishing. But, T-shirt, white shirt, and a nice patterned short sleeve shirt over that you can button up, and corduroy jacket over that. And you know what? I felt pretty sharp, and that's the truth. I got in that car, and I was in plenty of time for the doctor. It's about 25 minutes away, I guess. But that's something. I realized, I think the only time and just shower and shave and put on good clothes is for the doctor. Now, do you do that? Because I asked Colonel Jeff, and he said that, well, yes, he said the only time he does not get dressed up for the doctor is when he feels really sick. I know that sounds crazy, but you know exactly what I mean. When he really is sick, when he has a bad flu or his head is stuffed and he's coughing, like an animal, and he wants to, well, dress the part when he goes to the doctor. So he's not going to put on really nice clothes to sneeze for 40 minutes. But you know what? It dawned on me, I think people have been dressing up for the doctor for a long time. I mean, hundreds and hundreds of years ago and thousands of years ago. What did people get dressed up for? Well, the doctor was a good thing. You respected the doctor, and you wanted him to know about that. And sure, this is when doctors didn't make house calls, maybe, but you go to the doctor's office. And what else? People always got dressed up for movies, baseball games. You all know that. You always see photographs of, well, Yankee Stadium in the 20s and 30s. Just a coincidence that I brought up Yankee Stadium and not anyone else. But it's the truth. You know what I mean. And you see, well, all the fellas in the stands are wearing suits and ties and a hat. Now, Why? Are they out of their minds? Well, maybe, but no, I mean, they're not. They were dressing up because going to a baseball game was, well, a little formal. And you see pictures of that. And by the way, you also see them from the 1940s when people are just walking down the street in any city in our whole country. But they look dressed up. They look dressed up too. Women in dresses and with a nice pocketbook and white gloves. That's what Colonel Jeffords said. And I said, you're right. That's a good one. White gloves. And in those days, no one wore casual clothes. And that's just something to think about. How do you like that? What was casual in those days? Putting on jeans and jeans? No one wore jeans to school. You didn't wear jeans to school. And you could have, but no one did. And even kids who were the poorest kids in my school, Thursday was assembly day in my school growing up. This was on Long Island. And every boy, the girls had to wear nicer dresses. And by the way, this is first grade through 12th. And the boys always wore a short sleeve white shirt with a tie. And sure, every so often, not every so often, more than every so often, one of the boys had a clip-on tie. I had one of those myself too, but no, then you learn how to tie a tie. But no matter how poor a kid was, that kid always had a white shirt. And I like that feeling. If you said to any kid, poor or rich, maybe you don't have to wear a white shirt this Thursday for assembly day, that kid would have looked at you and his mouth would have fallen open. What? What are you talking about? What? Yes, I do. And again, no one wore casual clothes. If you had a new girlfriend and went to pick her up at her house and you put sharp clothes on, not for her, by the way, for her parents. She already likes you. She's going out with you. But her parents haven't met you. They don't like you at all, especially your father. Now, that's the way it goes. Well, hi, Mr. Belsky. I'm Richard Fromgen, and I'm here to... Don't insult me, Richard. I know exactly why you're here. And I'm here to stop you. Now, is that a little rough? Well, that's the way it goes. And that's the way it went. That is part of the job of a father. Not just 50 years ago, 100 years ago, 500 years ago, 1,000,000 years ago. You've got to get the message across. Look, pal, you know what? This isn't just a stroll around the block. For me, maybe for you. Maybe you don't care about this, but I better see that you do. And, well, it's funny that I remember my friend Hamilton never felt that way, and it always surprised me. I thought I was really proud of him for that. He has 4 daughters, and each one is prettier than the one before. I mean, they're just lovely, smart, funny, and beautiful. And I used to say to him, by the way, when the girls were in, junior high, high school, college, and because he was kind of a cutie pie in college. And I mean that as a compliment, that all the girls loved him and he loved them and the twain met. But so I'm saying that I used to say to him, when his daughters were, about of age and going into the world, and that if they had dates and came to the house, I said, boy, you think is this kind of a payback time for you that, when bung bung, oh hi, Mr. Hamilton, same thing. I know what you're here to do. And but he really impressed me. He said, no, you know what? It's not like that at all. And he said to me that all his daughters, all the girls got good grades and worked hard at it, and they all had jobs. And they all went, not just in the summertime, but they all had jobs to make money. and they all had friends, and they were all up on this and that, and whether it's current events or old movies and whatever they loved. And he said they were terrific girls, and yes, beautiful. And he said, well, so if a fella's coming to the house to pick her up for a date, I trust my girls. They know what to do and what not to do, and if they get in trouble, they can always call me, and I'll go over and kill them. But no, he didn't say that. But I mean, he felt just fine about it, because that's the way the world is, and that's the way God made his family. And I remember just looking at him and saying, how do you like that? Get a load of you. That's wiser and smarter than I ever gave you credit for. I mean, you're all right yourself. And I agreed on that too. I remember that when my sister had a date once. This is when she was in college, and she had a boyfriend in college. And so my folks said to her to invite him over to the house, our house, for dinner. And which, by the way, is, I think, a proper thing to do. That they said they'd been going out. Well, at that point, it was a month or two already, and that's, time to say, well, they wanted to get a look at him and have him get a look at them, so that he could know that this young lady he's dating comes from a good family. And I'll never forget my mom. God bless her, she's passed on now. My folks have both passed on, but my mom went out that day and did what she should do, what a good mother should do. She thought about it and designed, made it was going to make a really good meal for, everyone, for her and my dad and my sister and her boyfriend and me. And she got steaks and baked potatoes and green beans and fresh green beans that she was going to steam up, and made a salad with, everything in it and on it, and baked some fresh bread. Now, that's pretty good. This is a pretty good meal, and just, and set the table in the kitchen it's a big round table, and, with everything, silverware, napkins, plates. And the point is, she went to a lot of trouble. Good for her. God bless her. And I remember when the fella came over, and his, let's call him Jack. That wasn't his name, but let's call him Jack. And we all sat down in the living room. My dad went over as, the master of the house, and smiled, and everyone was sitting down, and my dad stood up and said, Jack, can I get you a drink? Would you like something? How about a beer? Oh, we have some whiskey. And I figured Jack said, do you have any wine? And I don't know about you, but there was about a 5-second pause. And then my dad said, wine. And I kind of felt that way too. Wine? Who asked for what? Wine? And the second time he said it, wine, my mom reached over and put her hand on his arm and, just gave it a tiny squeeze just to say, all right. Wine. And then, so my dad looked, we must have had something that was sitting there for a couple of years, I don't know, in an open bottle with the cork in it. So he poured him a glass of wine. There's nothing wrong with wine, by the way, but who goes to his girlfriend's house for the first time to meet her parents and just wine? Now, what you do is, beer? Sure, I'd love one, thank you. And then we all, I remember, sat down, and everything, folks, everything. My mom made a dressing. It was kind of, I guess a Thousand Island-ish type dressing. And put it on the salad, just, like a spoonful of it. Now, again, what do? You say, oh, thank you, ma'am, and thank you, Mrs. Miller. And this guy, again, said, do you have oil and vinegar? And that's another moment of this silence. And then my dad looked at him and said, oil and vinegar. And same thing, my mom just put her hand on his arm, and he looked at her and said, but oil and vinegar? And then the same with the, wanted for the baked potatoes. Do you have any butter? No, we can't have butter. There's no butter with the meat. Butter? He wants butter? And now every step, I'm telling you, we all, including me, just started looking at him. Now, my sister, God bless her, all right, she was, cared about him, and she was just grinning at him, and she was happy he was over. That's fine. That's the way it should be. But I'm telling you, and then, by the way, the cherry on top was, we all went into back into the kitchen, and my mom had set the table again for coffee. And she made a pot of coffee, and started pouring, and then everything with the spoons set up, and the new napkins, new dishes, and everything. And just before she pours it, Jack says, "Do you have any tea?" And once again, my dad looked at him and said, "Tea? Tea?" And my mom, once again, now she put her arm on, once again, her hand on his arm. But, we all looked at him and just said, how dumb can one get? Has this woman not worked hard enough for you today? Has she not done enough today? Not enough for you? Spent 6 hours on her feet, designing something, going shopping to get, a pretty fancy meal, steaks for everyone, and as I said, baked potato, green beans, a salad that she made, everything she made, with dressing she made, nothing you liked, nothing you wanted. Does this moron, how big a lunkhead can you be? How do you not know? Folks, everyone out there, all of you, you know this. You go to someone's house for a dinner like that, you say thank you and smile to everything. Doesn't matter what it is. Would you like a beer? Oh, thank you. I'd love one, sir. Thanks. Even if you never drink beer, even if you didn't want beer, even if you hate beer, it doesn't matter, does it? You take it, say thanks, raise the bottle or pour it in a glass and smile, and you clink glasses for a toast. You don't even have to say anything. And then you drink the beer. Do you have to drink the whole thing? No. You drink, there's a sip or two or great, that's enough. But you've been polite. And then the same thing. When the food comes to the table, here's a tip. Whatever the woman puts down in front of you, you love. Stupid. And she puts a plate down in front of you with all this stuff on it, another plate for the salad. What do? You say, Mrs. Miller, I've got to tell you, this looks great. Thank you. I mean, I'm glad I came over tonight anyway to meet you and say hello, but this is a special meal. How do you not say that? And, well, this lunkhead didn't or couldn't. And, well, once again, my sister's happy, and he's sitting there. Well, he wasn't much of a smiler, but, well, she liked him. She loved him. Did he love her? Who knows? That night, folks, my sister's happy. Jack's happy if he was capable of that. And my mom, my dad, and I were just looking at him, thinking, what a maroon. I mean, again, how lunkheaded can one get? Well, folks, it's good to remember things like that. You know what? Whether it's a doctor or anything else, you could take a good shower, shave, put on it. You don't have to put on cologne. But just sure use some Old Spice aftershave if you really want to. And then put on your good clothes, whatever those are. Everything clean. Tie a tie. Put a tie on and tie it. I feel like holding my hands up and yelling. Put a tie on and tie it. And put a sport jacket on or a suit. And you go to your girlfriend's parents' house where your girlfriend grew up. You dope. Well, do that. And if it's a doctor, you know how to do it too. Sure, you want to look good for him so that he doesn't think you're a dope too. And for anything else, for a job interview, yes. Get dressed, be clean, and put on nice clothes. Who doesn't know that? I know it, you know it. When we know the same things. Homer is Homer and Pluto is a planet. So remember, folks, as always, If you walked out of bed today and had a job to go to and a home to come back to and someone there who loves you, folks, game's over and you've won. So just be clean and wear clean clothes, and we'll see you here next time.